guys. Thought I'd get a bit of dance music in the background, talking about puberty and adolescence and all. My name is Alice. I'm a primary school teacher. I'm also one of the co-founders of Grow Your Mind, which is a mental health social venture for pre-primary school and for educators. And I'm delighted to be spotlighting 5 minutes from a 1-hour workshop of It's Going to Be Okay, Puberty and Adolescence. I'm hoping that you gain some greater confidence in providing the best possible ingredients for the girls in your life, whether you be an educator, whether you be a parent, whether you be both like me. Now, why the girls? Why the girls? I can hear the men and the boys screaming, "What about me? It isn't fair. I've had enough. Now I want my share." And I can understand. However, the first place that my research took me to was to the fact that poor mental health has a gender divide. So for every 3 cases of depression, 2 are in women, and the same with anxiety. Now, this is interesting, and it tends to occur around adolescence. This gender divide starts to happen. Actually, the gender divide starts occurring from puberty, really, but adolescence when we see more presentations of these things. Now, here is a picture of my wonderful mother, loyal, loving, strong, amazing human, and my wonderful daughter. But I look at this picture of my gorgeous, strong, intelligent daughter, and I think you are changing so rapidly. And wearing my public health hat, I thought I want to understand what I can do to try and prevent some of those poor mental health outcomes and physical health outcomes that I was learning about. So at Grow Your Mind, we have a playful analogy of the brain. You can see our animation on it called Grow Your Mind Animals. If you wish to find out more about them. Today I'm going to be focusing on the prefrontal cortex, which we call the wise owl, helps you make good decisions. And I'm going to be focusing on the guard dog, which is also what is known as the amygdala, most famous for flight, freeze, and flee, although it does a lot more than that. Now, interestingly, puberty begins in the brain. It begins with the activation of the HPG axis. And as we know, it's not just about physical changes. It involves the beginning of so much emotional and behavioural changes, unlike anything seen since infancy. Now, Dr. Sarah Mckay has written a fantastic book that you all know about called The Women's Brain Book. And she writes in it that more than the development of a reproductive system capable of producing offspring, girls also experience a whole host of things: fine-tuning of brain networks, increased sensitivity of the emotional, social, and cognitive brain networks, shifts in relationships, shifts in values, transition from primary to high school, and a growing awareness of the cultural and social expectation of what it means to be a woman. It's a lot. Now, from puberty, as I said, that's when we start to see a gender gap appear in poor mental health, and it actually remains that way well into old age. So this took me kind of stumbling into the land of early puberty. Holy shanushka, early puberty. I learned about behavioural risk. You have a higher chance of body image issues, eating disorders, substance abuse, poor academic achievement, depression, upset stomachs. I learn about physical health risks, reproductive cancers, obesity, insulin resistance, diabetes, interesting, short adult height. In fact, one study I uncovered was this one, and it said, it was a study of Norwegian women, and 61,000 of them to be exact, found that the earlier a girl got her period, the earlier she died. And a similar conclusion was found in a Japanese study where women who got their periods before the age of 12 were more likely to die sooner than women who got their periods after the age of 13. By now, I was deep breathing into a bag. I was 10 when I got my period. So this sort of took me into, well, I may as well, while I'm here, I may as well look into adolescence. What's happening there, statistically speaking? Well, death and disease rates increased by 200%. Woof! Top 3 causes of death among adolescents are accidents, homicide, and suicide. By now, I was feeling deflated and devastated. Why? Why these terrible statistics? I immediately looked to blame. Dun, 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 dun. Hormones. However, luckily, I had been educated in this fantastic model of brain health by Dr. Sarah Mckay herself, bottom up, top down, outside in. And I realized there was a lot more to play here, which is a huge relief, because What I then found was that just because you're at a higher risk of something, as Dr. Julia Graeber says here, for a health condition or a behavior does not equal destiny. Boom. Correlation does not imply causation. This is a huge relief, and this gives us as educators and parents a lot of reason to be hopeful and optimistic. Now, one of the key ways that we can build resilience in ourselves and others is by identifying what we can and can't control. So I was determined to find out, well, what can I control with these things? Now, can't control the hormones, as Dr. Shercliffe says here, but you can, to an extent, control the context. So I can control my attitude towards puberty. Hey, it's a normal life event. No reason to freak out. I can have greater empathy. Think of all those things that girls are going through. I can have greater empathy for what they're going through and remind myself that puberty is normal. As Dr. Sarah Mckay says here, all the experts I spoke to emphasize that the attitudes of parents are paramount to how girls will cope with their changing bodies, regardless of how early, late, or average they are. What else can I control? I can control my attitude towards adolescence. This is a fascinating, beautiful time of brain development where their brains are incredibly plastic. And here's the thing. Different brain regions mature at different rates. So remember the old wise owl, that is still under construction until their 20s, whereas the guard dog and the limbic system, that is very mature. And a lot is happening there. This means there's a mismatch between the two. So then I can therefore manage my own expectations and call on patience, call on empathy. And I can really change my perspective on what adolescence will mean. This is an exquisite time for learning. It's an opportunity for learning, for creativity. And those environmental experiences that I can help facilitate as an educator and as a teacher and as a mother are crucial. So I figured, let's combine the can and can't control model with Sarah Mckay's bottom-up, top-down, outside-in model of brain health. Let's look at what we can do with thoughts, cognition, emotions, with life events, with education. What can we do? So this is what I came up with, and this is what the extended workshop is about. We can challenge unhelpful thinking styles. We can do positive reappraisal. We can build emotional regulation. We can look at mindsets around body changes as well, and really be really fantastic role models when it comes to positive body image. So really thinking about that from a top-down perspective. And outside in, we can build wonderful open communication. We can create emotional closeness, prioritize, teaching our young people in our lives about healthy relationships, how to identify unhealthy relationships, bring on some safe risks. And particularly this idea, one of the questions that the guard dog can ask is this a threat? Is this a challenge, or is this an opportunity? And when it comes to the bottom up, let's look at prioritizing sleep, exercise, high quality nutrition. So I believe I am out of time. There is so much that I would love to talk to you about. Perhaps you'll have to watch the full 1 hour. For now, just think about the fact, that wonderful quote, that just because you're at more risk of something does not mean that that is your destiny. So let's go forth and approach health and wellness with this bottom-up, top-down, outside-in view of brain health. All right. See you later, guys.